Hey everyone, I want to talk about gratitude with the new year and some of the things that you could implement if you want to make 2024 a little bit different than 2023. But there are a couple important things that we should cover about New Year's goals or any type of goals or anything where you're basing it off a day or a year, etc. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. Like I always say, we appreciate all the support throughout the years, especially 2023. We saw massive growth thanks to all of you. I'm very appreciative of every single person that comes into OC Recovery. You all mean something very special to me, all the people I've worked with. I think I worked with about, just this year alone, just me, not including Mom and Rob or Sam, about 400 new people I've worked with, somewhere around 350 to 400, plus all the old people. So it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff, plus all the content, plus everything I do outside, the gym, hiking, all that stuff. But it's worth it. It's very worth it to me. I enjoy giving my life to a higher purpose that I design, not a higher religious purpose, just a purpose of helping other people because it's something I thoroughly enjoy doing. So, and then like that What's Up link down below with Phil is a great feature that we added this year that gets you to get in right away. So the most important thing about goal setting and looking at the new year, especially trying to apply gratitude or gratefulness, is that there is no difference between days. There's no such thing as Saturday and Sunday. There's no such thing as 2023 or 2019. Those things exist in the spectrum of giving humans a tangible counting metric. But in the grand scheme of life, there's just nights and days you've been alive. Right? So for me, I've been alive for about 12,440 days. So that's about the amount of days I've been alive. Now, the reason why, and this might sound nonsensical or crazy to someone who's never applied this, the amount of people that go, well, it's 2024, it means something different. It doesn't mean anything different. I set goals all throughout the year. Now, I set New Year's goals, but I don't look at them in the sense of like, oh, I have this 1 year to do it or stuff like that. Because then what happens is as your days go on and the years go on, many people attach these unnecessary deadlines to their goals. And then when they don't reach them, they beat themselves up. Because most people who are talking about goal settings are talking about them through the lens of conditional self-acceptance. It's the way how most of us operate. So it is really important to realize that. Now, I'm going to do something I've never really done before. I think it will be really cool for people to see exactly how I kind of formulate my goals. I've gone over stuff like this in coaching calls in the WhatsApp group, but I've never actually done this with anyone on my YouTube video, I don't think, at least. So I think this will be just interesting to see how I formulate some of my goals. And then we'll go into gratefulness and gratitude and why I think that's so important. So when I did my yearly goals this year, I wanted to do something a little bit different that I never have done before. I was really good with weekly goals and daily goals. I always say my daily goals are on here and my weekly goals are in my notebook. But I've never done my yearly goals before like this. So I'll read you one of them. This is one of the 5 I set for a 12-month period. This is a Ray Dalio principle. I wrote, I want to work on my must-dos versus like-to-dos, working on content creation, the growth of my business with my wife, the growth working with Rob, and all of that. The why, this will really help shift my growth even more in a disciplined, actionary way, and potential increase of money, better relationships, better frustration tolerance, just overall a lot of benefits in my life. Now, I did something I've never done before, and I wrote sacrifices. And the sacrifices I wrote were delaying gratification and not getting what I want right away, which is obviously delaying gratification, just put in another way. Wearing a lot of urges, being uncomfortable. And then how I'll stay on track with these goals are monthly reviews, not holding it in such a rigid manner, and accepting failures when they happen, which they will. Another one that I've gotten very good with, but I want to be a little bit better, is taking constructive criticism. That goes from strangers, people I don't know, all the way up to people who know me a lot. Now, as Ray Dalio says, I weight those things. Someone who doesn't know me might not have the best insight into my life. They've maybe met me once for 10 minutes versus my wife who's known me for almost a decade here in a couple of years. But it doesn't mean they might not have some good information. And if you shut people off like that, you go, oh, I'm only going to listen to these people, that's a problematic belief system and it's not very open-minded. And I wrote, specifically Rob, Erica, anyone in my life. Why? This will help slow down my need to be right, and working on this will help me accept that I'm not always right, and maybe I don't always know what's best. which I think is something that many people struggle with when you watch debates, for an example. No one's really listening to each other. They're just telling the other person why they're an idiot. And that's not really a good way to go about constructive criticism or building good relationships with people. And applying acceptance doesn't mean agreement. The sacrifices are going to be wearing the urges to be right, which will go against any remainder fears of rejection that I may have that are there. And then delaying my response won't be easy. In the beginning, there are times where I've had to be like, just don't say anything and listen in a non-compulsive way. I'm not using that as a mantra, but I have had to do that. And that is very important. And then what I do also is this is what I did all last year, but I did it in another notebook, is I have my weekly goals like this. So I have my weekly goals in my review. So like my OCD recovery weekly goals was just, 5 YouTube videos minimum, 30 TikToks, try some one-to-ones when I was away in Florida. I did one. It is important to take time for yourself sometimes, but that's way overblown. I tend to not take really a lot of time for myself outside the gym and hiking, but that's completely okay. I choose that decision, so I have nothing to complain about. Now, none of this means anything if you don't take any action. This is why the reviews are so important of this. But I want to end the video with some gratitude and gratefulness that I try to practice and things I implement into my life and how I go about doing that. And I want to talk about some of the main ones that I use. So one of them, these are going to be some things maybe you didn't think I was going to say. One of them is a page I've been following for maybe about a month or two now called Revived History. It's on Instagram. There's many pages like this. Revived History is a great page that brings back black and white colors from like World War II, World War I, and other crazy things throughout history. And I think that from a gratitude perspective, that's really good. There's a great YouTube channel, which I haven't watched in a little bit, but it's definitely an amazing channel. And that is, many of you probably know the channel, White Underbelly, which interviews a lot of prostitutes, people who have had really hard times on the street, a lot of Skid Row in Los Angeles. I believe it's in Los Angeles, never in the Cali before, but I'm 99% sure. Drug addicts, pimps, divorce attorneys, schizophrenics, severe bipolar. It's just a very good thing. And remember, when you're doing this, you're not comparing it to yourself in the sense of like, oh, I'm so much better than that person. You're looking at it from the lens of how tough life can be and how lucky we are to have OCD and have a disorder that we can get better from. So that's a really important thing too. Another thing I do is, I missed today actually, so I'll do it right now. I'll actually do it on the phone with you, is when I wake up, and because this habit's kind of only 6 weeks old, I do forget some days. I wake up and I just say 3 things I'm grateful for. Now, again, that's not going to be, 3 things I'm grateful for. That's not going to change my life, drastically, but it's pennies in a bucket, and that bucket can add up over the long term the way I like to see it. So I'm grateful for all of your support. I like to add whys. I'm grateful for all of your support because without all of you, we wouldn't have a business. We wouldn't have the support and the network that we had. So I'm very thankful for all of that. The second thing I'm thankful for is my legs. There's many people out there that don't have use of their legs. They don't have legs at all. I'm going to go for a hike today here in a couple hours up a mountain that I love. And I'm very grateful that I can do that with such ease. And that's something that I really thoroughly enjoy doing. And the third one is, and I'll say it because I do think it's important, I'm very grateful for Rob, because without Rob, I probably would have killed myself. I hate to say it, man. It almost makes me cry. I probably would not be here if it wasn't for Rob. And my wife and the support of everyone. But if I didn't have Rob's guidance, I don't really know where I would be. I probably would have killed myself a couple years ago, I would imagine, because my life was I was so stuck with OCD. I felt no way out. I couldn't understand how anyone could live like that. And then I get up and I start my day. Another couple ways you could practice gratitude and gratefulness, and this is another thing I do. I had a lot of these in the same place last year. I wanted to separate them. And this is just a regular journal, but just a gratitude journal as well. So like on December 18th, I wrote, I'm grateful for my ability to write. Think about why. Think about how many people can't see or they don't have any arms. I'm grateful for my dad. My father instilled hard work in me, and I'm grateful that that I actually got to know him. And I'm grateful for the sun. The sun brings many joys to people's life. No, December 25th on Christmas, I'm grateful for my wife's family. It's nice to have a good family through my in-laws. I'm grateful for coffee. Imagine how many people do not have any access to coffee. It might sound stupid, but there's truth in that. And I'm grateful for books. They give me opportunities that many don't have, and I'm very good at applying a lot of the stuff I read. I'm not an expert in that. I wouldn't even say that you could be like an expert in that, but it is something I am very grateful for. So I separate those two things, and I think that works out really well. But overall, we have a lot of things to be grateful for, and I'm very happy for everyone that I've ever got to work with. I've heard many different stories over the years. I've only been coaching full blown for about 2 years. I think I did about, I have to imagine, almost 1,500 calls this year. I made, probably almost 300 YouTube videos between TikToks, Reels, and Facebook posts, maybe 3,000 between those alone. And I do it all because I enjoy working in the community more than anything else in my life. I think it's very hard to be this passionate about something unless you've lived it and came out the other side. And it's very important to me, and I'm very thankful for all of you. So thank you for all of you. I hope all of you enjoy the new year. Thank you for everything you do for us, and we hope that we help all of you very much. Look for the direct WhatsApp link down below, and we hope to speak to you soon. Don't wait for the new year. Start doing the stuff you have to do now and watch the progress come without trying to track it too much internally. You will automatically, but there is hope. Have a good day, everyone, and Happy New Year.